Hey, I'm your host, Bree Wilde, and this is Marquee Memories. Here we sit down with your favorite artists to talk about their top concert memories as fans. Today's guests are a British rock and roll band who just wrapped a tour celebrating the 10th anniversary of their debut album, Everybody Wants. The Struts are here. Welcome.
Hello. Hi.
Good. First of all, 11th anniversary tour. I feel like as fans, as a band progresses more in their career, you kind of have to make peace with like never hearing those first songs again, you know? But what were some highlights for you guys?
I'd say being able to play some songs from the record that we hadn't performed in a really, really long time. There was a track called She Makes Me Feel Like that I think like the last time we were playing it were, you know, on the small tours in front of like very few people. In fact, there was one show where the audience consisted of like a man and a German shepherd.
Not just a figure of speech.
No.
It was. Yeah.
So it was nice to play that song again after all these years with a few more people than and a man and his dog. So little moments like that. And it was also a reminder of how great that album was, because we did it from the beginning to end, all in one go. And when you're especially performing it, you're like, this is a really solid album. And that's kind of a nice feeling, especially after 10 years. It still holds up.
The final night as well was in San Diego, and that was where 10 years ago we played our first ever headline show, was San Diego. So to go back there, to end the tour there was super euphoric, and playing the same songs that we had. I mean, I think our set at the time was probably 8 songs, because I don't think the album, I think it was about to come out, and then the singles that were sort of loaded, to Luke's point, of the very strong record that is Everybody Wants by the Struts.
The venue as well, like, seemed so small. Like, in my head, that original House of Blues gig, it was like huge and all these people, and then we get there and I was like, flipping hell, this is very modest. It's a modest sized room. When it's packed, it's great, but it's funny how your mind sort of exaggerates with time, you know?
I'm sure it felt good to have everybody singing along to those songs too, besides just the man and his German shepherd.
Yeah, it was.
Flipping hell. I've never heard you say that.
What?
Flipping hell.
Did I just say that?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Quite like that.
All right, we got a bunch of memories to get into. Should we get into it?
Let's
Please.
go.
Paul McCartney, Target Center, Minneapolis, 2016.
Were you all there?
Yeah. Don't know how we got tickets, but we all went. And it was just a magical night for all of us, because obviously, I mean, I don't know who's in a band that isn't really a fan of the Beatles, but
I feel like it's illegal to not be.
I know, especially if you're British as well. So, we all went, and it was great. We had great seats. I think he played for what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
Which
a
was
long
crazy.
time. I don't think no one's seen him before as well, so we were kind of, because I don't know, I feel like in the UK, especially for me, I didn't get a lot of chance growing up in like deep dark Wales to see a lot of bands growing up.
Deep
you know,
dark Wales.
like, you know,
Medieval
like,
Wales.
The reason Lord of the Rings is set on Wales, but yeah, not a lot of artists would come through, so I didn't really get a chance to see a lot of these big people, you know. So yeah, seeing it with the boys in Minneapolis was epic. I think we got tickets from, I think it was just like, at the time we were like first over, so people were like, oh, the Struts are in town, what do they want to do? We were like, we want to see Paul McCartney.
There you go.
Yeah, we got spoiled right on the first round in the USA.
Perks of the job.
Yeah.
There was definitely quite a few tears shed as well. It's weird, like, when I've personally had that like a few times in my life, when you are sort of like there in person at a concert with one of your musical heroes that's sort of so embedded in your DNA. Like, it's the closest thing to genuine fandom that I've ever experienced. It was funny. It was like uncontrollable. As soon as he ran out in that sort of McCartney classic Beatles fashion, like they used to back in the day, of course, you know, he was on his own, but as soon as he ran out, it was like an uncontrollable emotion, and it got quite blubbery, and then it was just like an undescribable feeling. So it was great, and his voice I think that was the biggest takeaway. Like, his range has always been really impressive, but you know, live and to see it in person, he was hitting all the notes. Like, Maybe I'm Amazed, you know, that bit, like, I'm not going to do it. Not now. I'm not warmed up. I've only been up for about an hour or so. But yeah, he was hitting all of them. And his falsetto was beautiful. His storytelling was great. It's sort of like a testament to him as an artist, but also like a really great storyteller as well.
That's what I was going to say. That was my favorite part of his performance, is that, you know, the rich history, obviously, with it being Paul McCartney. But it felt like you were almost in this kind of, it's almost like a museum experience of like this rock and roll history, and then hearing the stories. And he'd talk about how he'd written the songs with John, and then tell you about, kind of prefaced every song with a great story. And to do that in an arena setting is unbelievable.
Really held everybody's attention for that.
For sure. And had 4 grown men crying.
Yeah, I think that's the only time I will cry to performance on a ukulele. It was when he did something.
Oh,
we
yeah.
talked about George before, and yeah, I don't know. Challenge me. Give me another ukulele. I'll cry to.
He played some deep cuts as well. He did like The Benefit of Mr. Kite, and which I think John sang that. So it's just like there was a bunch of songs that I wouldn't expect to hear. But yeah, not a dry ice. A dry ice? Dry eye. Sorry, I'm half asleep as well. Dry eye in the Struts camp. So it was
Was there any specific song that like really hit you?
I'd say that, yeah, when he did, because he had talked about George, and then had played all videos of them when they were younger with him and George, and then he did something, and that was when, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so amazing, you know.
Do you remember, I feel like maybe you don't, because like this is just part of your life at some point, but what your introduction to the Beatles, like what was the first song you heard? How did you become a fan?
That's a good question. It's like any of those amazing legendary bands that are from the UK. It's like when you're growing up, you just kind of hear them, whether it's Queen, the Stones, Kinks, I guess a little bit later on, bands like Oasis as well, and whatnot. It's hard to pinpoint an exact moment, but I can tell you when I sort of really deeply dove into their catalogue. I was working as a cleaner at a rest home, and I had one of those beautiful big chunky iPods with the big screen, and my friend who was in my school band, he had acquired like a very huge amount of illegally downloaded music on this huge hard drive that was like the size of a shoebox, and gave me absolutely everything he had, including like pretty much the entire Beatles like back catalogue. I would work my shift and I would have headphones, so every day I would deep dive into different people on this sacred iPod, and for a long time it was Beatles, especially a lot of Paul stuff. I love the kind of Edwardian ditties, so to speak, that Paul used to make, like Martha, My Dear, Your Mother Should Know, like these kind of like vaudeville musical songs. I love that kind of side of the Beatles as well, which is, over here I believe they call it fish and chip rock. Stuff that's really like British, so to speak, that you can sort of imagine being rehearsed and played in sort of like some sort of Victorian ballroom. But I love all that stuff. So yeah, and I was probably like 18 at the time. So that's kind of how I fell in love with Paul and the Beatles then.
I remember having a moment where I was somewhat late to the party in the kind of carving out your teenage music taste. I really wanted to kind of rebel against what my parents liked, which I think is pretty normal for a lot of people. But then there came a moment when I was about 17 or 18, finally like actively listened to the Beatles, because you can't escape it growing up, to Luke's point, in the UK. It was only when I actively listened at 17 or 18. I remember a moment with my dad saying, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. Your music taste is actually way better than what I've been listening to. Like, I get it now.
Tired of fighting it.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. Anything for you guys?
Yeah, my dad was just he listens to pretty much John Lennon and the Beatles, and then plus some random other 60s stuff. And yeah, growing up, my mum and dad's song was Woman by John Lennon, and Imagine was playing, and then I guess it was all the early Beatles stuff, like She Loves You and stuff like that. And then he would have like these compilation discs he would make of different 60s bands, because my dad's in his late 70s now, so it was all his era. So yeah, it was kind of, I couldn't, pretty much as long as I can remember, it was been part of my music DNA, I guess, and grateful for it, to be fair. Yeah.
I think mine, it was probably like Christmas, hearing like the Christmas songs, but also growing up, like my best friend, who's my cousin, I'd go to his house and we'd go to his bedroom, and my uncle was obsessed with the Beatles. So instead of having family pictures on the wall, he was a drummer, so there's like pictures of Ringo everywhere. So that was like my first kind of visual introduction. And then, yeah, he just, would play records for me and educate me that way. And kind of got me into drumming, really. So, yeah.
Where do you stand on the Beatles versus Stones argument?
It's the Beatles for me.
Interesting.
It's the Beatles. I feel like, well, yeah, like I felt like my parents just listened to them growing up, and they were just constantly like playing. So, but not so much with the Stones.
Interesting. See, I've got a very interesting theory that you can't have sex with the Beatles. But in the argument of the Beatles, in the argument of the Beatles versus the Rolling Stones, in that argument, you can't get sexy with the Beatles music. That's the only thing.
Come together.
That's probably the only sexy Beatles song.
like-
But the Rolling Stones, you could put on their entire catalogue, and it feels that it sets a mood. You know what I mean?
I would agree. I mean, going back to my least favorite Beatlesy stuff is the fish and chip kind of Edwardian.
Luke's favourite.
Like,
Yeah. See, that's why you can't. You know?
I appreciate his talent, but like it's just not for me. And I think that's something, even with Queen, to be fair, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd rather the harder stuff, but I don't know. I do think there's
Maybe
a
that's
few
where
good
I'm going
songs.
wrong. I'm trying to set a sexy mood with Paul McCartney's Edwardian ditties, and I'm breaking out into tap
I would
dancing.
happily make love to Maybe I'm Amazed.
Yeah, that's a good one,
Yeah.
actually.
Obla-dee.
Obla dee, obla da.
Piggies. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go forward to Brian Wilson at the Pantages.
Brian Wilson, Pantages, Los Angeles, 2017.
Oh, we cried again.
More tears.
We cried.
The crying shows.
We had really began to make a name for ourselves over here in the States. The album had been out. We'd toured our asses off relentlessly. And we were staying in short-term accommodation here in LA, what was called the Oakwood Apartments.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Yeah, which we've heard is kind of like a rite of passage for many of folk in the entertainment industry. And we would sort of stay there, and we had tickets to go see. And, we were just letting off some steam the night before and woke up extremely vulnerable, slightly disturbed.
Well, to that point, did you say you weren't at Brian Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing to comment on this gig because I was too hungover and I didn't go.
Oh, I didn't
Which,
make it.
But it sounded like a great time.
It
So
was unbelievable.
please,
It was great.
continue.
We actually have a thing, like a little bit in the band where Adam doesn't come, like he just isn't in attendance of a lot of like the best
Core
memories
memories.
we've ever had. Like, and then, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite sad, really, when that's the correlation.
Well,
that
I would like
everyone
to
has a great
just put
time
on
when I'm
camera
not
right
there,
now,
but-
just to set the record straight. It's not because of your absence.
Yeah, it's because they
just chose
miss
the
me
bad
so
number.
much.
They just fill a void.
Yeah,
You were there in
exactly.
spirit.
It's all
Yeah, yeah.
induced through alcohol because they miss me so much. So it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Continue.
Sorry, yeah. So we, I'm pretty sure, and you guys might remember, I think it was celebrating Pet Sounds.
Yeah.
And they played the entire record, and again, same thing as when Paul McCartney kind of like ran out. Brian walked out with a bit of assistance and kind of sat down at the piano and just started singing. And again, it was really emotional. When you've sort of lived and had so many memories with like certain songs and sounds by like that particular artist, and you're seeing it like in real life, it is a really moving experience. And seeing him as well, and he looked so vulnerable at the time, you know what I mean? And that also hits you quite a lot. You just kind of wanted to run up there and give him a hug.
I think you listen to the music and you don't really, the artist is kind of ageless, or from the time of when they wrote the songs, right? So when you see, I think we could all relate, like, oh, that could be my granddad, you know what I mean? Like going on stage and he's so talented and performing these. Felt very, very lucky to witness that.
And that feeling soundtracked by like 7-part harmonies as well with these beautiful songs, hearing it in the room is like, yeah.
And a 4-part hangover.
Where were you in the audience? Did you have good?
We had great seats.
We had really good
we were
seats, yeah.
Right up front, yeah.
We couldn't have been that far away from the front at all. Sorry, Ads. He's just looking there like...
I'll be honest, like, I'm not a huge Beach Boys fan, so... Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, we've had many arguments about this.
Yeah, he doesn't remember the argument.
I like the hits, but that's about it. So, no love lost at all. Continue.
No, I mean, we were probably about 10 rows from the front.
Yeah, seated like... Because again, in the theatre experience, it was cool to see that. Because you're not going to go and stand in a pit for, Brian Wilson at that point, Although I would probably love a good mosh too.
Wouldn't it be nice?
I do have a question. Where is this place you saw him? The Pantages?
Just over there.
Panty Pants?
I loved that place.
It's like a theatre.
Yeah, it was
Very famous
beautiful.
theatre.
I mean, the interior is just like so cool, and it was the perfect setting. Again, it was attack on the senses, that and being quite vulnerable physically.
And to see it in California as well, that's always still...
Yeah.
We all live in LA now, and that's the novelty of being here. Like, if I'm having slightly off topic, if I'm having a bad day, I just drove, like recently I drove around the Hollywood Hills listening to In the Wee Small Hours by Frank Sinatra. And I was like, that sounds so pretentious, but it was so amazing. I was like, this is the coolest, this is like the coolest, like, blowing off steam ever. And that novelty of just like being in California for us. And then so seeing Brian Wilson doing the Beach Boys songs in LA, it was very poetic.
Were there any songs that hit particularly well for you?
It's God Only Knows was the one that... Because, I think that's one of the most beautiful songs ever written. Like, I genuinely do think that's incredible. So, seeing that, I will be honest, like, I'm kind of with Ads, like, I do appreciate the Beach Boys, but I'm not, like, a huge fan. But, there's moments with every artist where you just have your favorites, right? So, God Only Knows is... And always will be the one.
Yeah, I mean, that is like, I say that I'm not big, but that song in particular, I'd say it's probably one of the best of all time, really.
It's one of the best songs ever written, for sure. It's incredible.
What about you? Did you do a deep dive into Pet Sounds at any?
Yeah. And then I was even lucky enough to play their Grammy salute, which featured the guys, including Brian, like watching the performance, and me and Taylor Momsen from Pretty Reckless. We did, what did we do? We did like a little medley of Fun and Surfing USA.
Nice.
Yeah. And to see like a bunch of other people that night as well, do all of the other tracks as well.
Well, speaking of Brian, I forgot to ask you this question in the beginning, and I know you've told the story several times, but how did the story of working with Brian May on Could It Be Me, how did that come to be?
We did a COVID record in 2020 that we wrote and recorded in 10 days, very super spontaneous, and to really sort of make an effort to make it an album that reflected the times, we invited all of the friends that we had made to sort of feature on a bunch of songs. One of them, well, two of them was Joe and Phil from Def Leppard. And Joe, I know, has been and still is like really close friends with Brian. So once like that album had been done, me and Joe, of course, were like talking, and I just kind of hassled him until he gave me Brian's details, and I can't really remember what the initial conversations were. It was probably me just fanboying, and Brian had took it upon himself to get Could Have Been Me and just reimagine it for the sheer love of it. And he kind of sent it to me, and I was like, whoa. And it was all of these new guitar parts. He'd sort of made the chorus double time, which was really interesting.
We cried again.
Yeah, more tears.
That's what I'm here to bring up.
Yeah. It's a good therapy session for the boys. Yeah.
Me and Ads ended up going to his house to cut some more vocals. Adam got to play like a bunch of new guitar parts onto it. Even got to, what did he say?
Yeah, because he was playing, I brought my guitar with me and he was playing mine. And then obviously I saw his famous guitar, so I was like, any chance I could, have a play? He's like, well, I fingered yours, you can finger mine. I was like, thanks, Brian. And I got to play through all his AC30s in his house, in his studio, and it was amazing, cool experience.
Anyway, needless to say, I think all three of us were sort of like, kind of playing it pretty cool. And I remember when all was said and done, we got into the little rental car that Adam was driving, and we were at the top of Brian May's driveway, closed the door, and Brian still stood at the door waving like this. And we're all going, fucking hell, what was that? We're all just freaking out in the car, going absolutely mental, and just waving like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. And we were just losing our shit, just turned into little teenage fanboys once again. But it was a great experience, amazing.
The irony is that Brian is like the most grounded, gentle rock star you'll ever meet. Like when we did the video with him, we hung out and got lunch and everything, and he's so like temperament of a Buddhist monk in like the most legendary rock star body. He's so lovely. And I think he would have known that we're fangirling, as of course he knows.
Yeah, he was actually, there was a moment where they just finished remastering and remixing Queen's debut, and Brian had a Dolby Atmos studio kind of like set up in one of these rooms. Have you ever listened to an album in one of those suites? It's incredible. It's like you can walk around the room and it will give you like the closest experience of the band in a room playing. So the drums are right through the center, but if you walk around the room, you'll hear like a sort of like a cluster of backing vocals on the right hand side, then you'll have like Brian's guitar, so you can really like make it into sort of like this immersive experience. And Brian's sort of like talking through these early songs, and that album, the debut, is one of my all-time favorite records. And he was spitting all these facts, and I was like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. And he's like, oh yeah, of course you know about this. Yeah. We're just having like a bit of a quiet laugh about it. But I also I was actually quite hot in the studio, and I was wearing like a tank top underneath a jacket, and I have a Queen crest tattoo on my left arm.
You're like,
and for the life of me, I could not take off my jacket. I was like, Luke, do not fucking take off this.
Sweating. Brian's like, you sure you're in?
Yeah, I'm just there doing vocals. I'm like, just sweating buckets.
so
I'm
he
like,
still doesn't know.
He probably does, but I did not want to be that guy to take off my
The
jacket.
studio was so hot.
It was.
I was dripping.
And I was like, he cannot see your Queen tattoo on your arm. That is just no. So yeah, I sweated through that to sort of avoid potential embarrassment.
That's amazing. All right, let's move on to the Taylor Hawkins tribute, Wembley Stadium, London, 2022.
Taylor Hawkins tribute, Wembley Stadium, London, 2022.
Luke should start because he played.
Well, you were also the closest with Taylor as well.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it was one of the weirdest experiences. On one hand, you're all kind of there celebrating like a great human being and a legendary musician. But then on the other side of like the coin, you're all there because something like hugely tragic has happened. So it's this really mixed bag of joy and a huge amount of like sorrow, but so lucky to have been part of it and chosen to even be on the bill. I mean, I remember.
What was it like to get the call and like to be want to be involved in this?
Pat called me from the Foos, and
We were in Italy, I remember.
yeah, we were on
a
Lake
boat
Como.
on Lake Como when Pat phoned you.
I was meant to be doing like a collection of shows with Taylor and his solo group, like Chevy Metal. We were going to do like loads of early Queen stuff, you know. And so Pat calls me up and he was like, look, I know that you and Taylor were planning on doing a bunch of like shows with doing like Queen's early catalogue. How would you like to sing with Queen and do like a bunch of those songs? And I was like, look, I don't care. Like I don't care if I'm making the teas or singing, whatever it is. I just want to be there in any capacity.
The three of us flew over as well, and we were the proud mums in the front. We cried again because we were seeing, I mean, Queen's all one of our favourite bands, and we know how much it meant to Luke. And obviously we got to know Taylor really well over 2 years on tour with them, and just feeling the love for Taylor in that room, and also just an unbelievable spectacle for rock and roll. And then seeing our best mate sing with our favourite band, it was, crazy. We're all proud mums. I have videos of literally like blubbering through it. It's amazing. And then, and the after party didn't suck either. As you would imagine with that company.
That has to be such a complicated feeling though, like everybody coming together, but you know, for a sad reason.
Yeah, there was definitely like, you know, it was bittersweet, wasn't it? Because like Luke said, you're in that situation no one wants to be there for that reason. But I do think like the love in the room or in the stadium for Taylor was, you know, it was awesome. It was really, really cool just to be a part of it, and to see Luke do a tribute as well. And you know, Taylor and Luke, all they would talk about on tour. Taylor would come in and like it would just be Queen this, Queen that, like constant Queen.
It was 6 hours a day of Queen on tour with Luke and Taylor. Yeah.
I remember we were actually having one of our many Queen combos, and we were in catering. I think it was like on the first run that we did with them, and Dave came and sat right down. It was just the two of us at the table. Sits down, puts his knife and fork in his hand, starts chopping up a bit of meat, and he goes, "Are you guys talking about Queen?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I'm fucking out of here." He just got up and left. That's kind of how relentless it was. Yeah.
I think Wiley, who's in Chevy Metal with Taylor, put it great. Like when was there, he was like, Taylor would have loved this, and I think he would have, like all his favorite bands and friends coming together to, you know, celebrate his life. He would have been stoked, and bittersweet but magical evening.
Do you remember any other performances from that night that particularly hit you hard or made you extra nervous?
I think when Taylor's son played with the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, Shane.
Yeah,
that was great.
Was it My Hero?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
I think there wasn't a dry eye in that house at all then, because he absolutely crushed it. And, good on him. That must have been really difficult for him.
There was a moment side stage as well where, this is before we did the song with Brian May, and Paul McCartney's playing, and I think this was after Luke had done his part. Yeah, it was, because Queen had played. And then Gethin and I are watching Paul McCartney side stage at Wembley through Brian May's head of hair.
Couldn't see a thing.
He's trying to get a parting at the top. He's pretty tall as well. I was like, this is a fun rock and roll moment.
This is a core memory. Yeah. Last one, Oasis at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
Oasis, Rose Bowl, Pasadena, 2025. I think we should go back to when we heard the announcement of the reunion.
Oh, please do.
Again, it was quite emotional. There's a lot of emotions with all of these.
We're quite an emotional band.
I think we are.
Yeah.
Real men cry.
We were all on the bus, and of course there had been many wild rumors, especially like in the industry. So I remember we all saw it and we were like, whoa.
The date, wasn't it, with the Oasis writing?
That date, that performance becomes your sort of obsession and something that you just can't wait to happen. Like if you're a kid, it's Christmas Day.
Oasis Day.
Yeah, Oasis Day became like this thing that we were just like, oh, not long now.
Yeah, and also for when they, the dates are out, we were like, when can we see them? Then, of course, we've booked a tour exactly the same time as they're like doing the UK dates.
Yeah, I made a big faux pas. So I stayed up late, bought 4 tickets. And this was last year, and it was for August 2nd at Wembley. I was like, sweet, yeah, make sure we don't tour. And then earlier this year, we got an offer through to do Osheaga Festival. And I was like, oh, that's a great festival in Canada. Like, of course we got to do it. Didn't look at the date of when it was. And also it was my girlfriend's birthday on August 1st. So I was like, oh, perfect for her birthday. Festival was August 1st. So I was like, oh no, and we can't cancel it. So I had to sell the tickets. And then we're like, oh, when are we going to get to see him? And then the America shows got announced. But even that we almost missed.
Well, we worked out, we had a show in Chicago the night before, which was the first night of the Rose Bowl. So we worked out if we got the earliest flight out of Chicago on the day of show, we could make it back. So we, our Oasis Day started with a flight from Chicago. And there were people on that flight next to us that were also flying to LA to go see Oasis as well. So, yeah, very exciting.
Again, I was always confident somehow, somewhere, we were going to catch one of the gigs. And it all worked out for the absolute best. I mean, if it had been the UK, I think sentimentally that would have been beautiful. But, I mean, let's be honest, we had great company that show. For that show, our evening started with pre-gaming, as you guys call it, at the Beverly Hills Hotel, which was very lovely.
Like the set list was just like,
that's perfect on it.
I'd written it. Like all my favorite songs, like amazing, some deeper cuts, obviously all the hits. And
the worst thing about it was there was no time for a toilet break.
No,
it was too good.
Yeah,
you were like, oh, maybe no, but then I'm like, maybe this one, and then they start playing. I'm like, I can't. This is just so good.
I remember
I missed Half the World Away, and I think
you came back during Little by Little, because I remember I was so excited when you're coming back down our line, and it was a little by little.
What did everyone miss on their little?
I think I went the same time as you.
Yeah.
I didn't. I stayed solid, boys.
Wow. Bladder of steel right there.
Dad actually pissed himself.
Yeah.
Those tall boys.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that.
But we'd never seen Oasis before, because it's one of those where you think, oh, Oasis is just a staple, like I'll get around to seeing them, and then they always, although you had an opportunity to go.
Yeah.
You were hungover, weren't you?
No, I wasn't. But a friend of mine who's from Manchester was like, I've got 3 tickets. Can you drive us up and back? And I'm from Derby, which is like 2-hour drive. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be the designated driver when you guys are all drunk and stuff. I was like, no, I'll go to the next one. And then they broke up like a week later. I was like, oh, shit. But
one thing we've learned now, especially with some of the more legacy acts as well, is that if you have any opportunity, you could see an artist, take it. Because Gethin and I had tickets for Tom Petty. And same thing, we'd like flown in that day. And so we were like, there's a chance we can see him again at this other thing further down the line. Then he died a week after that. And it was like, there are so many moments like that with these legends, and knowing what it was like seeing Brian Wilson, for example, as we discussed, it's so magical. And any opportunity to see any of these legacy acts, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Also, I felt like some people were like, okay, well, they're gonna reunite, but are they gonna last the whole tour?
Yeah, I
without
know.
fighting?
I know.
Yeah.
I think that might be I mean, it's still ongoing, but if they complete it, it's the first ever tour they've ever finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
They seem more like I mean, I think it's the best time to ever see them. I think they sound better than ever.
Yeah.
We were joking as well. Like, one thing that as a musician kind of I was a bit bummed at was just how steady the drummer was. Like, you could see them like, oh, getting excited, and he's like, nope, and he's like slows it back down. But like sonically, it makes for just hearing a brilliantly grounded, well-rounded rock show. And I think, and they just seem happy. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I think
Apparently Liam didn't drink for the whole tour.
Really?
No, and I think you can hear it. I mean, Liam's voice, I was really blown away by that. I think as fans, we've seen and heard Liam's voice go through like a lot of changes, especially the last kind of couple of years of Oasis before they broke up. And then, of course, him doing BDI and then eventually going solo. Like, it's gone through like this, a lot of strange stages where it's been like, okay, then it's been good. But that night and this tour, everything I've seen, especially like in person, I was like blown away. It was, for the most part, considering how long the set was, he was going for all of the notes and hitting them. And, you know, I mean, like, he might have sort of done something different every now and then, but for the most part, it was like, wow.
I just ruined that, though, with doing my impression of Liam Gallagher next to Luke for the entire show, screaming, and my girlfriend wasn't.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
Sunshine.
It was great, though.
It's like when you take a video and you're like, oh, this person next to me.
Yeah.
That was
I have this
ruining
great
everything.
video of Adam and my friend Nick Perry. I wanted to film they did this really cool countdown before Fucking in the Bushes comes on, they walk on. And it's like going, dim the lights at 30%, and there's this, you know, massive voice talking in the stadium. And I panned it to Adam and Nick, and they're both stood there like, jaws completely like to the floor, waiting for something to happen. It was really sweet. A lot of great pictures from that night and videos, aren't there?
A lot of our videos, we had this Argentinian guy who'd flown up, who was singing everything, and his pitching was interesting. And but he was on the time of his life. We saw, a lot of, just so many people that were just so elated to be there and had waited 20 years for this. So
I think it's the one band that unanimously all four of us all really love.
Yeah.
Because like there's other bands that, you know, so someone will love and then others will like. But I think with Oasis, we are all unanimously huge fans. So it was really special that we all got to experience that together.
So you knew all the songs, and that's why you couldn't take a bathroom break.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And,
it's kind of like almost like a religious experience as well. It's insane. Like with all of those people turning to each other and singing. It reminds me of being a kid at church. It was like really
like goosebumps.
Yeah, I've never experienced that sort of level of connectivity between the band and an audience like ever. And we've been to like a lot of shows, seen a lot of great bands, but to be somewhere where you look in front of you, you look to the left, right, strangers behind you, like you'd sort of sing these key moments in the song and you're looking into a stranger's eye, into their eyes, like you've known them, and you're like, you know, spend some time in the sunshine, and just everyone's got their like hands open and arms up, and it's it was a really unique experience.
One of my friends described it, and I completely agree with this, was it's like being at the best rock show meets like a soccer final. And as a man who hasn't been to church very much, but has been to a lot of football games, I would liken it to like just same thing when there's that unbelievable atmosphere. And even seeing it in the States, because I mean, I think it would have been really special to see them in like Manchester in the UK.
But it didn't lessen less than your experience.
No,
Right?
and it
No.
still felt like
Probably
a
more polite,
sports.
actually.
Yeah, innit?
Yeah.
What was nice as well is like there's a lot of terrible things going on in the world, and you know it's great when artists do talk about that stuff and it galvanizes people to bring them together. But there's something also nice about just escaping, and they literally just walked up there, played all the songs, little bit of talk, tiny bit of talking in between, but it was just like a moment to just escape for a minute and
Yeah.
just be with people that you love and just bond over the feeling of music was just really nice.
I think that's a sentiment that we've always tried to do in the Struts as well. And I think that's why we enjoyed seeing it so much with Oasis. It's like, that's always been something we've celebrated and continue to. And as we see our fan base grow and how diverse our fan base is, and everyone's there to be able to just, let go and have a good time. So that was a sentiment that we share, and felt extra special to see one of our favorite bands doing that.
At what point did you cry for this show?
I know I did. I think
I actually don't think I think I was crying from screaming so much. You know, like my body was like giving in. I don't think I had. Yeah, it was more like I think I was just ecstatic for the whole show.
Fair.
Rather than I don't think I actually had some tears. I was too happy. It was like happy tears.
Yeah, it
kind of
was.
thing, but like
if you think about like Paul McCartney and Brian Wilson, there are definitely moments in that were because there wasn't the same storytelling with this. It was more of just like euphoria. So I think if anything, you had a weep, didn't you?
Don't think I did.
Do you not?
Which is unlike me, because out of all of us, I'm the crybaby. But yeah, I think it was just the goosebumps. Hello, the first song in the set's like my favourite song, pretty much. So
Well, yours was your jaw drops,
Yeah.
just like.
and
I remember
just-
shedding
yeah.
tears of joy at the back of the bus when the initial announcement was official. That was more emotional, I think. In more like a.
Did you
clutching
think
your
it was going to
pearls.
happen, or did you hope it was going to? Like, what did you think?
It didn't seem like it was on the cards for so long. They both had really impressive solo careers, and there was up until probably like a year before, everything that you'd seen in separate interviews, there was always like, his side of the story and then that guy's side of the story, and it just never seemed like it was going to happen, because there are a lot of bands, massive legacy bands that do fall out and they don't get their shit together. I mean, look at Zeppelin, for instance. You know what I mean? I mean, they definitely had some great success with those small number of performances when they kind of got back together for a bit, but that was very finite, and it was only for a handful of gigs. I think what's unique about this Oasis situation is now that they've come back, not just done a handful of shows, but doing the entire world, I would put money on that there is definitely an album, new music in the works. I think Noel, again, it's something that he's expressed in many interviews, like he just can't help himself and is always fishing for that next song that he can be really proud of. And his solo work has been a testament to that. Some of those songs we all as fans have been listening with ears, imagining what Liam would sound like singing on some of those tracks, So I think Noel has a whole bunch of new music in him, and I think they're definitely going to be coming with new music.
I hope so. They've got the whole world in their hands, pretty much. Like I think they're bigger than they've ever been.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, why not give the fans something?
Right.
Didn't they say it was the Eras tour for middle-aged men? And I think that's pretty
It's true.
pretty knob on. I'd say.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your memories. Can you tell me what's next for you guys?
Yeah, we're
Breaking up. No,
we-
joking.
Breaking out to get
see
back
you in
together.
10 years.
Yeah.
Well, we just wrapped like a pretty productive year. Obviously, we got this 10-year anniversary tour like under our belt now, and it's been a really lovely way to sort of close a chapter of our lives and our music. artistically, and I think it's sort of been really inspiring. So we're going to continue to, get together for the next couple of months, work on some great new music, which we hope to record and eventually put out pretty much as soon as we can, really, as long as it's right. But there is a lot of great new ideas floating around, and yeah, I think we're just planning on having another really productive year next year, where we get to see more of our fans and give them everything they deserve, which, to be honest, is a lot, because they came out in their thousands on this run that we just did, and we've seen this audience grow, and now there's all these little kids coming to the performances, which is really bizarre. So yeah, we just kind of want to give back to them as much as we can.
We've also we've grown a lot, and we've learned a lot in the last 10 years. We've known what worked, what didn't work, have a much better understanding of what it means to actually be a sustainable band. Because when you set out as teenagers, you kind of just I want to play the big shows, and there's not really your the bigger picture you hold for it is very broad, and there's a lot of throwing spaghetti, and I feel like we've thrown a lot of spaghetti the last decade, and and some of it has been tremendous, but there are some things we feel very prepared to really dial in and turn up to 11, as it were, to make sure that our next record is the sort of biggest yet, and is truly the A word. Authentic is a bit of a buzzword, but there's a lot to be said for that, given what we know now, given we've known what connects, given what we want to say next. So the next chapter, the next decade, is going to be very exciting, and this has been a poetic way to end a 10-year chapter of what we've done so far, and on to the next.
I heard you say in your Struts Life podcast that, you're not going to go away and hole up and make an album. You want to stay connected, to the fans and let them in on what you're doing. How are you going to do? What's the idea for that?
Well, it's interesting when we don't have new music to do it with, and we don't have tour dates. It's kind of getting creative on ways that we can still have our fans know that we're still around. I think the days of the sort of go on tour for 3 years, vanish for 2 years, and write a record, we're not in that. The industry has moved so fast, it's changed so much even in the last 5 years. So just creative ways that we can sort of we can give and reciprocate some of that love that people have when they're still listening to our older catalogue. So that's kind of a focus for now, while we still write and rebuild behind the scenes, and not giving too much away in that process. But I think, as with it's a relationship. Your stuff with your fans has to be a two-way street. And I think if you go away for too long, what's the difference? It's like having a marriage that you bugger off for 6 months, which actually is just like being on tour, really. But but you get my analogy.
Yeah. Do you guys have any shows coming up as fans that you're looking forward to going to?
Our friends, the Beaches, are coming through LA in a month or so. Yeah, I need to hit the girls up and actually see. I know how hard it is to get an LA guest list, so hopefully they'll.
Yeah, and it's actually on the 18th, I think.
Is it? Oh, is it this month?
Yeah.
All right.
Ghost just announced that they're playing LA the day before my birthday next year, so I'll be there for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite venues here to watch a show in, not just to play?
We literally played the Wiltern 3 nights ago, and that one for going to shows is fun as well. It's actually better to watch shows there than to play them.
Oh, really?
Because it's set out in these little areas. There's not one GA area where everyone's on top of each other, which is great if you're a fan and you want to be comfortable. But when you're looking out at the crowd, you're like, this feels a bit disjointed. So I think it's better to watch there.
Yeah.
Pantages obviously was sick.
I like the Roxy. I think it's just a good old-fashioned rock club. So, and I've seen a few shows there. I really like that. That's fun to play too. Rose Bowl was nice, to be fair.
Yeah.
People say that it's not very nice, but I thought it was awesome. I like the way it's kind of wider than it is
maybe you guys
tall.
had a party bus to get in. I know some people had trouble getting
That's
in
what
and
I was
out.
That's
actually
why
about
we
to
loved
say.
it.
Yeah.
We got dropped off at the door and got picked up straight, so that's why we loved it.
That's the key.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was like because how old the building is as well. It's kind of like it's not new by any means, is it? You know, so and there was a blood red moon that night.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
What does that mean?
it lit up the entire like stadium, and I think that was one of those moments that I think as a Brit we still kind of get, whether we're sort of like on a night out or traveling. You know, I get it driving my car and I'll go past like the Hollywood Bowl or something. It's like, wow, you know, being in that stadium with that moonlight shining down on everyone, and just the weather, like, you know, it was just like so beautiful.
You do have the best weather.
Yeah, it was a beautiful night, you know.
Oh.
So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank you so
sharing
much.
your
Thank you
stories
for having
today.
us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.